3, 2, 1, 0.
Whoa. Rock and roll.
Son of a bitch! Hello, everyone. Hello. Can you hear me out there in YouTube land? This is the odd one, DJ Odyssey. And we're here tonight to talk about The Stand. Yes, we are. I want to say hello to B-Star, who's already in the chat first. Night Breeze popped in. Thomas Potts is here. Yes, it is. Yep. But, you know, this is what it is. It is The Stand, folks. Stephen King's The Stand. So, how is everyone out there tonight? Before we get started, give a couple minutes, see if anybody else wants to wander in. Apparently, they may not like The Stand tonight, but hey, they gotta suck it up, cupcakes. We are going to discuss the mini-series tonight. I know it's one of my favorite Stephen King's stories. The novel came out in 1978 from Stephen King. The plot centers around a pandemic of a weaponized strain of influenza that kills almost the entire world's population. Few survivors united in groups establish new social system and engage in confrontation with each other. In 1990, Stephen King had The Stand reprinted complete and uncut edition, which restored some of the fragments of text that were initially reduced, revised, and order of the chapters shifted. The Stand is considered to be the King's longest standalone work, with its 1,152 pages, surpassing it that stood at 1,138. It even came out from 2008 to 2012, published by Marvel Comics. It's a series of comics. And now that abomination CBS All Access is going to put out a revamped new version sometime this fall, maybe. It could get postponed with everything going on. We've got Kronos in there. Kronos is now in the chat. We've got Jeff B. Yes, we do. We've got all kinds of people starting to show up slowly. But hey, this is what this is. You know, the extremely contagious and lethal strain of influenza from the stand that was developed as a biological weapon was estimated at 99.4% fatality. 99.4. But we pick up the plot here shortly. Going to throw in StreamYard's link in case somebody wants to pop up and talk with me. Hello, Dee Dee. Dee Dee Myers is in the house. And yes, Kronos, M-O-O-N, spells Deej. Or M-O-O-N, spells Kronos. And yes, for this evening, I am not completely Deej. I am Randall Flagg. I am Randall Flagg. So, Night Breeze has joined us up here.
Howdy, everybody.
No,
Yeah, I can't miss this one. This be my favorite Stephen King book and movie of all time.
Yep. And you know, we start off with the plot. It's June 13th at a top secret government laboratory in rural California, where Project Blue is accidentally released. Now, you know, hello, Uncle Remus. You know what? This is where I kind of go off on the miniseries right away. Because if they were working on something that top secret, that deadly, it wouldn't be underground at a little base with a few houses and a chain link fence. I think it'd have a little more security.
I agree to a point. You know,
Sure.
the way if you're going to have there's the underground part. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, that's a little more secure.
Yes,
And
no.
which would be more inconspicuous? A small base with just the fence, a couple guards above ground, or a hardened installation surrounded by machine guns
I just can't get it, because there's something that base is holding tons of deadly viruses, germs, everything. One little chain link fence, one little guard post, one guard. I can't buy that one.
Well, so they don't actually show what they have set up in terms of defense capabilities inside.
No, but just outside. One person.
I do think I will agree it was a little bit under.
Yeah, they'd have to have
one
at least
or two guards.
they'd have to have at least two, maybe three guards just to keep watch on each other to make sure they don't do what Champion did.
Yeah, no, I agree.
His family, jump in a car and run.
I agree with you there. I just, I think it's more inconspicuous having a small number. 3 or 4 guards on duty at a time. Or at least obvious guards.
Hail Jeff B. Hail Bird of Prey. No, Uncle Remus, I'm not going to go with that one. That's too soon. And we're going to stick with the flag, and company. But, we We pick up Champion grabs his family and runs. Of course, in the miniseries, that's when the kick-ass song "Don't Fear the Reaper" picks up, and you get to see all the shots down inside the little base of how quick all these people died.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still jamming to "Don't Fear the Reaper." Until he comes and crashes the car into a gas station in Arnett, Texas, where we finally get to meet Stu Redman. We finally get to meet old Stu.
Yeah.
And
Now,
of course,
just thought of that, with how quickly they died. There is one issue with the miniseries, at least, that with overall it kind of bothered me. Underground, or in there, they were infected and dead within minutes. I mean, that's obvious by the guy whose face is face down in his soup.
Yep.
Yet, when it's actually out there, you're looking at days. People are sick for a couple days.
Now, the only thing that you could say about that is, well, they were in an enclosed area. They got a very concentrated form, which still doesn't make sense. It's the influenza. It's going to run your course through days in your body. It's not just going to kill you instantly.
Yeah.
Because some of them didn't even look like they got sicker in it. They just keeled over. It didn't make sense there. Yeah. But they wanted to hurry the plot line, and they wanted to somehow say that it just happened so fast there was no warning.
Yeah, it's done plus, to make you have that fear from the very beginning.
And plus, they're all locked up inside the underground base. How did it escape on the outside in the first place? Really? Yeah. How did Champion actually get it? Because if they died that quickly down inside, nobody would have got outside to release it.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I think they expect you to think that it was through the ventilation, some of it escaped into the air.
I mean, they were all locked down there. They even showed one part where they couldn't get out.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a little implausible there. But, it's a miniseries. It was ABC.
And it made for a good story.
Yeah. So then we sit there and we meet Stu and the rest, Hap and all that at Hap's gas station. And then the military starts figuring out where Champion crash landed. They come in to get him. And then they decide to quarantine the town. And we got a little picture here of Stu being hauled off by Alf's keeper. Yes, folks, we will crack a few jokes to this throughout this discussion. But yes, we have Alf's keeper back there hauling poor Stu away. But all in all, I'll throw the link in the chat one more time in case somebody else wants to pop up. But let's just run down the cast really quickly, because this was a perfect cast for this. We had Gary Sinise as Stu Redman. We had Jamie Sheridan as Randall Flagg, Molly Ringwald, Franny Goldsmith, Laura San Giacomo, Nadine, Ruby D, Mother Abigail, Ossie Davis, not to be confused with Ozzy. This is Ossie. So Bird, it's Ossie, not Ozzie Davis. It's Judge Ferris. Miguel Frewer, Lloyd Hendry, Corn Nemec, Harold Lauder, Matt Frewer, Trash Can Man, Adam Stork, Larry Underwood, Ray Walston, Glenn Bateman, Rob Lowe is Nick Andros, Peter Van Norden, Ralph. We even had Bill from Coach, a.k.a. Patrick Star from SpongeBob, as M-O-O-N. That spells Tom Cullen. The list just keeps going on of everybody in this movie. Even Stephen King played 2 parts in it. Well, 1 part, 2 episodes, 2 of the 4 episodes.
Okay, the only part I can remember is when he walks up and to Mother Abigail, and I can't remember if he asked to shake her hand or give her a hug. That's the only part I can remember.
He was there, and he was in part 4 with Bobby Brady from the Brady Bunch, manning the border.
Okay, I must have missed that.
It was Bobby Brady of the Brady Bunch, and Stephen King was manning the border when Stu and Tom finally come back at the end. You had to catch it. You had to pay attention. But they were there. Because it was Stephen King's character that came up and told him there's something wrong with the baby.
Okay. I'm going to have to rewatch it.
But we got Darth Hester here now.
M-O-O-N. That spells Darth Hester. Laws, yes.
He does that good, too. You're really doing that good there, Darth.
Uh-huh.
And
thank you, sir. I've been perfecting it for years. Laws, yes.
He's got the damn voice down. All right,
M-O-O-N. That spells deaf and dumb.
You got Kronos laughing. When was the last time I seen this show, Kronos? I just watched it like a month or so ago.
Laws, yes. I just watched it yesterday. M-O-O-N. That spells yesterday.
So we got the townspeople taken in by the CDC to Vermont. All but Stu are dead by what now some are calling the superfluous Captain Trips.
Yes, Captain Trips.
They kind of had a good ring to it. Captain Trips. No.
I thought it was kind of funny at the beginning where they escape the facility. The one guy escapes the facility with his wife and heads down the road, and all of a sudden goes to a gas station in Arlene, Texas, where Gary Sinise happens, his character, Stu Redmond, happens to be working.
I don't think
he's like, shut the pumps! Shut the pumps!
I don't think Stu worked there. I think they were just all hanging out bullshitting like they do in small town gas stations. 'Cause I've seen that a lot. It's being that I grew up in a small town gas station. That's where a lot of the older farmers.
Oh yeah, the one pump gas station town. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go there and hang out to gossip like little old ladies. Just how the men do it. But it's weird because this virus killed 99.4% of the population in 2 weeks.
And there's select few were alive are supposedly immune to it.
Not only immune, but receiving messages in their dreams. Either one of a man in black who's out west, Randall Flagg, or two of a kindly Mother Abigail sitting on a porch baking her own bread.
You seen her too?
Yes, Tom, I've seen her too.
M-O-O-N. That's Mother Abigail.
Oh. And that Mother Abigail was the best casting job in the entire movie. She looked
I don't know.
the part.
In case you hadn't noticed, I'm kind of partial to Tom Cullen.
Oh,
So we now have Tom Cullen up on the screen and Randall Flagg. Folks, we're in trouble here.
And you got the voice too. Laws, yes.
Kronos is really trying to quiz me tonight. He's trying to grab every obscure little dialogue from the miniseries. I told you, Kronos, it's been a month. Calm down. I'm getting old. I'm not going to remember every single little line. Son of a bitch. But we got the plague going on right now.
Don't forget that crazy lady played by Shawnee Smith.
Well,
Laws, yes.
Okay,
she was crazy.
No wonder I'm seeing comments from Kronos in the past. They're showing up really late in StreamYards for me. Son of a bitch! I'm seeing
Yes,
comments
I've read
comments are just popping up in my StreamYards that were made 6 minutes ago.
I've read the book several times.
I've read the original book and the extended version.
Oh, the only thing I touched was the extended version. Complete and uncut. It's the only way to read it.
Yep. Yes, it is. It may be a very long book, but you got to read that one if you want the whole thing. Uncle Remus, let's scroll back here.
All 1,875 pages. I believe that's the page count.
Well, it depends upon what you get. If it's the hardback, it's 1,182.
Is it 82? I thought it was 85, but I had the hardback, but of course it's been forever since I read it, so.
But then you got it still spreading because even before the government moved in, you had State Trooper come in. He gets infected, which again, here it goes, a little unbelievable because he leaves the gas station. He's not even that far down the road before you see in the military coming in, and he's already starting to cough. While the others took at least overnight before they started showing any kind of symptoms. You got the State Trooper within 15, 20 minutes coughing.
Of course, you had the people at the lab within seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was my big problem with the movie, the inconsistency of the lethality of Captain Trips.
Yeah, because if it was as lethal as it was portrayed, even with the State Trooper, it would have been spread everywhere faster than what they were showing with the military trying to track it and shut things down. But then you got, as it goes, it's spreading. And you go to places like Vermont and that, and you're listening to some of the stories of the other characters, like Franny, her dad, Harold. You see Lloyd Hendry with his partner going in and trying to rob a place and gets into a big shootout. You get to see Franny and her dad sitting back listening to the Ray Flowers show, which Ray Flowers was the character played by she's sitting there right in my face too. And son of a bitch. I hate when my brain does this. Kathy Bates doing Ray Flowers. You see the government showing up to shut her down because they don't want her talking about the bodies being burnt. And the news crew out. They get attacked because they're videotaping the bodies being burnt. And Uncle Remus is pointing out, do you remember who the state trooper was?
I can't even remember who the state trooper was.
I can't remember.
John Bloom. You know, he did a little thing called The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. Show Bob, man. Show Bob. You don't remember him? Joe Bob's?
No, coughing up blood is definitely not okay.
Yeah,
And he even played the deputy. His name was Joe Bob. Drive-In Theater. Joe Bob Briggs. Monster Vision. And no, Kronos, we're not quite off topic because he used basically the same name as the trooper in the stand. Just had last name changed, but yeah, Joe Bob. So as we go through part one, what was some of your favorite parts of it? The actual spread of the flu, the story development, what would you say?
I really enjoyed how they built things up with it. That this is a major catastrophe. You gotta have that fear in there that they built it from the beginning. To make the whole thing work out. But I also like Stu. The development of Stu's character was amazing.
Hello, Uncle Remus.
How you doing?
We're doing good here tonight.
MOON. That spells awesome. Oh, yes.
He does a good Tom Cullen, I gotta say it.
He does. That's very good.
Thank you, sir.
What show was that guy on? He was on Coach, right?
Coach,
Yeah, I think
he
so.
Was he was Patrick on SpongeBob.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, it's so cool.
Name's Patrick.
Right.
I never realized that.
Yeah. Right.
Is this the Krusty Krab? No, it's Patrick. I ain't no Krusty Krab.
That actor got a good gig with SpongeBob. That's for sure.
Here we go. The whole world's going to hell. Larry Underwood shows up in New York trying to hide out. Running home to Mama. Because he's kind of overextended himself with some leg breakers. But, baby.
AKA Loan Sharks.
But, baby, can you dig your man and shooting to the top of the hits? Like a rocket. Which that was kind of a boring aspect because all you do is you have him introduced there to his mother. He's trying to take care of his mother, which comes down with the flu. But he's also making phone calls back to LA, talking to his little would-be girlfriend, wanting to come back and party. And of course, you got one of the best cameos at that point. You got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar running around in a row, ringing the bell, yelling, "Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead."
Didn't plague doctors used to do that?
They did.
I thought so. I had to bring it up because, well, mask.
Yeah, gotta wear a mask. And Pfluger's up here now. Pfluger's up in the house.
M-O-O-N. That spells Pflugerville. Laws, yes.
M-O-O-N. That spells pickles.
I like pickles, especially on my peanut butter sandwich. Laws, yes. That's
Pickles
delicious.
for free.
All right, but this is
Sorry.
where we also get to see the first extent of Flag's power. Because Flag can see in his head the guy ringing the bell saying, bring out his dead. Bring out your dead.
Bring out the dead.
And he sits there and gives the dude a heart attack instantly.
Yeah, Kareem, that was a beautiful part for him.
Hello, Nicole. Hello.
M-O-O-N. That spells Kronos.
Oh, no. M-O-O-N. Means I'm getting the hell out of here.
That's at the end, the holy hand grenade.
So, I don't know where we're at quite yet here.
We're kind of in the plague area.
Okay.
The
So
plague is
if we
spreading.
hit Kathy Bates' Ray Flowers, have you gone over that one yet?
We just barely touched on that when we were talking about how Franny and her dad would sit into the Ray.
Oh, yeah, cool. Sorry, I had no idea where you were.
Yeah, we're still in the plague area. You get technically at this point, Stu's still locked up because they're testing him left and right, trying to figure out why he's not catching it.
Yep.
You've got the other cast of characters listening to radio shows slowly. Their relatives, like Franny's dad, coming down with it.
And they also show the military how they're trying to control the outbreak with Ed Harris.
Nope. Oh, don't mind me. I had to take a little snack there. But it's like, how realistic could you see the military starting out this quickly, throwing around, being how the U.S. government is in the first place? Did you see within this short of a time them being sent out all over trying to shut things down? I don't think so.
For an operation within the continental U.S., I don't think they'd quite get it that quick, because it's at least being portrayed as being a matter of hours. I don't think they could do an operation quite that big, that extensive.
Yeah, and I don't think it would be true U.S. military. It'd be some shunt of contractors that they'd use.
Yeah, it's like when you read the story and everything else, this whole thing was over within 2 weeks. It already surrounded the globe and pretty much wiped out 99.4% of the population in 2 weeks.
I think Darth Haster's trying to duck out.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in the private chat.
Uh-oh.
M-O-O-N. That spells later.
All right, Darth.
M-O-O-N. That spells later. Laws, yes. Bye, everyone. Have a nice night.
Yeah, have a good night.
Sleep tight, rock-a-bye,
Ow.
baby.
Watch out for crazy women shooting at you. Just because they don't want you to take Pepto. But we can skip ahead a little bit because the plague part, it's just everybody's croaking, dying, and everything else. And we pick up in part 2 where the survivors are slowly trying to get the hell out of Dodge. Especially Stu getting out of the quarantine building. You've got Larry trying to get out of New York.
Meow.
Meow, Moira. You've got Franny burying her dad, which Harold finally shows up to help, and he professes how it's kind of meant to be, where they're the last 2 survivors of their town, and he thinks it's something special. Corin Nemec did a really good creeper job with Harold.
He was creepy.
Yeah.
Corin was really creepy at times as Harold.
Yeah.
And then when he dies, sorry, I'll
But then you got like Lloyd sitting in prison now with Rat Tartar. This little rat that he killed somehow under his mattress. But all these people are starting to have visions of either Mother Abigail or Randall Flagg. I cracked a joke when all this pandemic stuff started. I kept cracking a joke that I was seeing visions of 2 different people. I just want to see if I could spaz anybody out. But you got groups, you got people. One are dreaming of a place in Nebraska, Hemingford home. You got the other ones dreaming of Vegas. Now, which are you going to pick, folks? Do you want to go to some farm drawn by cornfields? Or do you want to go to Vegas?
Well, at least in the miniseries, most of the time when you saw Randall Flagg in the dreams, it was a very dark, very, rats around, and
it was very nondescript.
Yeah, but at the same time, you got that evil sense to it. And then we have Mother Abigail, where you had, even just in the visions, it was just, there was a calmness.
Strumming the guitar. But it's part 2 where we get introduced to my second favorite character of the miniseries. Bumpity Bump, my life for you. Bumpity Bump.
Trash Can Man.
Trash Can Man.
I think the second episode is where you get Tom Collin too.
Yep.
M-O-O-N. That spells Tom Collin.
But we do get Trash Can Man first, as he's trying to blow up. Basically, what they tried to show on screen was a refinery. But come on, that really didn't look much like a refinery. Just looked like a couple of big storage tanks.
I think that's what it was actually supposed to be, was a storage,
Yeah, it was oil storage.
Trash Can Man, the mental ill arsonist and scavenger. Very intelligent, though, for him. As we'll see later on, how intelligent Trash Can Man
Max Headroom.
Is.
What?
Matt Frewer. I know it. Matt Frewer. Max Headroom. Bumpity bump, my life for you. Bumpity bump, bumpity bump, bump, bump. But we start seeing all these groups starting to get together. We've got Larry meeting up with Nadine Cross. Now, granted, Nadine looked pretty damn hot when she was still in the New York phase with darker hair. And
Yeah, they changed her more gray all the way through that series, didn't they?
until she met up with Flag, and then it went pure gray.
Yep.
But then we also get to meet up with Glenn Bateman after Larry escapes and meets up with Glenn, and then they meet up with Franny and Harold and assorted others along the way. Even Harold will not believe that the place Stu come from was all dead. He thought there'd still be people there fighting and working. And he had to go in for himself, see all the bodies, and then come out and throw up all over the place. Harold was kind of a Weasley creeper in the first parts.
Oh, yeah, he right off he took Stu as a rival for Fran, and he wanted Fran all to himself, and he wanted to be the big hero that he just didn't have in him to be anything.
Well, and I think the underlying story was he was like almost pushing her towards Stu.
Yeah, that basically what he was doing was he was being such a creep and everything that he was pushing her straight towards him. If he'd just been chill, he might have stood a chance.
Right.
Except for all the years prior to that, to where he was being a creeper to her and writing poetry to her. And
Kronos, you troll.
Yes, Kronos is. Kronos, we've already said that it was Kornemic. We said it was Kornemic, Kronos. Kronos. Kronos has been to Vegas, says it wasn't that special.
I'm
Kronos?
still giggling over that.
Kronos, if you want special, go up by Reno. There you go. You can go to a place called the Bunny Ranch. Yep, you can go to the Bunny Ranch. But they're all finally starting to group up. Some of them are finally starting to admit they're having the dreams. Except Nadine. Nadine will not admit to Larry that she's having dreams. Though she's popping pills to sleep and everything else. And of course, she runs off in the middle of the night from Larry because Flag told her to. And then we get to Nick. We can talk a little about Nick because he gets beat up in a small town. And
Yes, Derulio.
Nick's in jail, not locked up, just because the sheriff brings him in because he finds him out in the middle of the road, beating the hell. And then we get the little town doctor that comes in to check on him and wants to check on the sheriff because the sheriff has Captain Trips. And wants to get his shirt up.
That sheriff was a little creepy.
Sheriff was funny, though. He was great, but he was funny, especially when they're bantering back and forth between him and the small town doctor about wanting to feel him up and everything else. And then he finds out that it's his brother-in-law that beat up Nick. So he's got to go and arrest them all and lock them up.
Well, I think that doctor took a shine into Nick.
Well, he did, really, because he wanted, when all came down to it, and they were the last two that were healthy in town, he wanted to take him to the cabin and take him out and get him the hell away from everything to ride it out.
Yeah, let's go ride one out.
Yeah, well, now that's being a little creepy. But of course, the sheriff made Nick a deputy. So Nick felt like he had to stay back and take care of the prisoners while they were croaking themselves. Even going as far as going out to the local diner and cooking them food and bringing it back to them. And then the poor doctor gets killed. And Nick gets out of town. And we don't see Nick again until he meets up with
Tom Cullen.
M-O-O-N. That spells Nick.
M-O-O-N. That spells Uncle Remus.
No, M-O-N. M-O-O-N doesn't spell Uncle Remus.
I don't hear nothing from Uncle Remus.
I'm here. I'm listening. I'm just listening.
Just picking on you, buddy.
No, I'm here. It's excellent.
It's not often that Uncle Remus actually comes up on a panel.
No.
So out of all these groups that are starting to form up and take off, which ones were your favorites to find out? You wish that there would have been more in-depth.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of split on that because I kind of liked, Nick and Tom. That was such a great thing, and just I'd like to see a little more on how that progressed in the early stages.
That was the most dynamic duo there because you had a deaf mute trying to communicate with a mentally challenged man.
Yeah. But
Tom
couldn't
read, and Nick couldn't communicate with Tom in any fashion.
Right, because Tom couldn't read.
Yeah,
at least Nick could read Tom Cullen's lips. Most of the time, all he read was M-O-O-N.
Yeah, that Bill Fagerbach.
Yeah, Bill Fagerbach.
He did a great job. He wasn't too over the edge. He was just right there.
He was almost playing his character from Coach. Just
yeah, kind of.
Because his character on Coach wasn't that bright either.
Yeah, that's true.
A little bit more, but not much.
But the New York group, Nadine and Larry. I could draw a blank on his name. As they grew that group a little bit, that would have been interesting to look into more. Like the judge.
Well, it was fun watching Larry and Nadine trying to escape New York just for the fact that you still had other people running around that were healthy. And you were hearing the gunshots of them attacking each other. It's like, come on, folks, you're in New York City. There's so much food around here right now. You don't have to fight over anything. But I'm sorry, I wouldn't have picked the tunnel to leave the city. I would have picked the bridge. You know how stinky and smelly that tunnel would have actually been trying to walk through with all those dead bodies in it?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Vile Mike.
No ventilation, no nothing. Trying to walk through that tunnel? Hell no. Hell no.
Well, the other thing is too, isn't that tunnel actually underwater? They have to pump the thing out all the time.
Yeah, and by this point, you would think the power grid would have collapsed.
Right, it'd be flooded.
Because nobody's left keeping the things running. Power should have been out at this point. That tunnel should have been starting to flood. And you got all the bodies in there. No, I'm picking a bridge. I'm leaving the city over a bridge. I don't care if it's a couple of...
Well, that was like the only bright thing Nadine did was, I'm going to go over the bridge. Duh.
And Larry's like, no, the tunnel's right here. It's closer. We can go right through here. Uh-oh. Don't put me in yet. Okay, I won't put you in yet. I just did, though. Up, down, up, down. M-O-O-N. That spells pickles. And
That spells pickles.
And he's flipping me off down below. Alrighty. But then you go back to Tom and Nick, and you got that Julie that shows up, played by Shawnee Smith.
Cray.
Other than the fact that it was kind of a cute thing to look at. I think that was one of the most worthless characters they had in the whole thing.
Well, no, because they wanted to put tension to Tom and Nick. So they wanted some crazy influence that would try to drive them apart, especially when Tom's having the diarrhea from eating too many of the apples. And Nick's trying to get him to take the Pepto-Bismol, but she's behind him, telling him it's poison.
Oh, yeah.
Just to drive a wedge because she's trying to break him up. And let's face it, she was basically a horn dog.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't want to do Tom, but she was willing to do Nick. And she just had to split them up so she could try to get with it. To get him to protect her and keep her. But it completely backfired when she starts telling him it's poison. Nick's too caring. Nick's too kind. He doesn't want to leave Tom behind. And that's just a poet and didn't even know it. Now,
that note that he gives her at the end, it's like, oh, that was ruthless. It was true, but it was ruthless.
And
we don't need you.
Yep, and that's why she starts shooting at him as they're getting ready to leave town. Good thing she was a hell of a bad shot.
Yep.
She couldn't hit shit. Now, a part that was in the extended book that I wish they would have used in the miniseries was Nick and Tom riding out in the Oklahoma countryside when a twister comes.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Because the dynamic of Nick can't hear shit, and there's a tornado behind him coming, and Tom's spazzing out, and they're trying to get to safety on two bicycles.
Yeah.
That would have made a fun little part to the miniseries. And I'm kind of hoping they use it in the remake, which we'll talk briefly at the end. Not too much of it because A, we don't know what the hell they're doing to it, and B, it's CBS All Access. It's going to be shit. CBS All Access does nothing but shit. The Kronos, we're not ignoring you.
Oh man, StreamYard is so far behind right now. I got Kronos at 8:42 was the last comment I'm showing.
I know. The last comment I see in StreamYards right now is Kronos saying Bunny Ranch tee.
Yeah.
I got to keep flipping back and forth to YouTube just to catch up.
That would be the problem, taking him to the bunny ranch. You'd have to pull him out by his shoes, and then we'd lose his, his feet would come out, and oh god.
Hi, Kai. So,
Hi, Kai, you beautiful man.
you got them running off. You've got the groups forming up. You've got Stu and them in a bigger group by this point, because we're heading into part 3. And they're trying to perform surgery on an appendicitis.
Yeah.
Ain't that a bitch?
Mm-hmm. Survive Captain Trips, die because your appendix bursts.
Yep. You died because your appendix went poop. And they were trying to use hypnosis to deaden the pain. I'm sorry. Fuck you. You can't hypnotize me. You're not a troll, Cronus. Shut up. Alright, so what other things do we want to talk about with this miniseries?
I don't know. I'm good. Keep pushing ahead.
Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Well, we got the groups finally starting to meet up with Mother Abigail.
Oh yeah, Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, no. That's Ruby D in this one. Ruby D. Let's stick with Ruby D.
I'm sorry.
Stick with Ruby D on this one. Don't give me nightmares of Whoopi Goldberg playing the part.
Should have been Oprah.
That's the new one.
Yep. All right, so we got them grouping up. We got them deciding they're going to head out to Boulder. They're even getting smart now and using CBs to communicate. Even though, really, if it was today, how many people know how to set up a CB radio? How many actually know how to use one?
That is kind of a forgotten art.
It's like how many people, because at this point in the whole thing, everything's crashed, so nobody could Google the information. So they'd be looking at the CB radio going, how do I hook this up? How do I use it? Today's youth would be so fucked.
Yeah.
But you got Flag at this point also setting things up in Vegas. Flag was the smart one because he's still receiving power from Hoover Dam. And Vegas would have partially cleared out at this point anyway. Nobody would have been going to Vegas. So you got less bodies to remove. Flag was actually the smarter one with his destination. So as soon as the power went out, he would have been screwed because he'd had no water, no nothing.
Which actually comes to an interesting point now that you think about it. But now I could be wrong, but Hoover Dam is at Boulder, Colorado, right?
No.
Okay, then I got me the wrong spot because I know that when they clean up Boulder, they end up having to start the power back up.
Yeah, so that's the Boulder Dam.
Yeah.
Okay, I had the wrong one then.
That was the wrong damn tour.
Yeah. They all were damned, but one dam wasn't working as well as the other.
Yeah.
And actually, if you watch some of the shows like Life After People and that, they even explain why Hoover Dam would continue for at least a few months running on its own. These other littler dams and such got to have constant maintenance because quantum. And that was another thing that I didn't like about this miniseries or anything else. How many nuclear power plants would still been running?
Like almost all of them.
How many of them would have been going into meltdown?
A few of them.
Because there's nobody there to monitor and add the water and such to keep the fuel rods cool. These things would have been popping off all over the world.
I don't know. They have enough automatic backups nowadays. Or even back then, it was 94.
Well, okay, they might have lasted a few months too, but eventually things were going to screw up on them, and you would have had meltdowns. You wouldn't have just simple shutdowns. You'd have China syndromes, and you'd have radiation spread all over the damn place. But I'm trying to figure out also in these dreams. All right, they're sending them to two places that you really wouldn't want to be. Boulder and Vegas. Extreme heat in one case, extreme cold and snow in the other in the winter. Why the hell didn't they pick someplace warm? I would at least pick the Texas coast.
Maybe the cold was to slow down the enemy from getting to them faster.
Well, maybe that was a thought in their head, but Flag was already preparing airstrikes. Flag seemed to be getting more the militaristic type of people to follow him.
True.
So,
Mother Abigail was getting more of the intellect that could figure things out to get it back running.
though Flag did get the probably most intelligent one out of the whole bunch. The craziest, but the most intelligent.
Yeah, Trash Can Man. Trash Can Man may have been one of the craziest ones in the whole thing, but he was one of the most intelligent, too. Because he could be sent out to find something, and he would find it.
Yeah, you could drop a spoiler right now.
Yeah, we could drop a spoiler right now, because we're getting there at the points where Trash Can Man was sent out to find munitions. Trash Can Man loves fires. What the hell would Trash Can Man want to find the most?
The biggest munition he could find.
The big fire.
Boom.
Pumpity pump. My life for you.
Okay, enough spoiler. Sorry.
That's right. Trash Can Man goes off on his own to find a nuke.
Yeah.
But you got the Boulder crew all showing up. And they're starting to clear out the town. Of course, they're trying to hook the power back up too, and none of them thought until after they restarted the power, hey, we need a committee to go around and shut things off. We might overload the system. Everybody died. They weren't going to get up and turn things off before they went back to bed to die or went to the church to die. Or
I just watched that again, and I'm thinking, wasn't there a version where they were a lot more invested in that thought? You know, where they actually had people going out and shutting stuff off?
Well, see, in the book, they go into detail talking about how they sent people out to shut things off. And
oh yeah, and they were marking doors and stuff like they did after Katrina.
And it was like how they, in the book, they were talking about how they would go into a grocery store and they would find deer in eating the cereal. Because the deer had come back into town and
Right.
they had easy meals. Just go in and start eating, open up the boxes of cereal, and they were chewing through that, eating the grain cereals and stuff. And that's another thing that I had a problem with them picking Boulder as a grouping because Boulder isn't that big of a town. They would have ran out of the canned goods and everything else that was there in the first place rather quickly. And with winter coming on,
Yeah,
The only
that
thing
stuff
they
wasn't
could've
going to
did-
keep after winter.
no, and the only thing they had was hunting. And as much snow as Boulder gets in the wintertime, it would have been hard for them to go out and hunt. And there's no real farmland for them to grow anything there either, so that's kind of a screwy place to decide to meet.
Now, Bile has a point in there that he's younger than you, so he knows how to set up CB radio. So he's a part of today's youth. But Bile, I'd have to say, think of Caddy trying to set up a CB radio.
Let's have Happy Dinosaur. But yes, the real problem, the coal and gas electric plants would run out because they didn't have nothing. So they did have to go somewhere with a hydroelectric system. But gas itself, you got 1 year tops of it being okay to use. And it starts going to hell. So vehicles would eventually become useless to them. That's why I thought Texas was a better place. They would have had the oil refineries. They would have had oil wells. They could have kept production there. I don't know. That's just my thought. The whole Vegas thing was another downfall there because you only have limited supplies of fuel that you have there. So they would have run out of transportation and shit too rather quickly. They should have picked somewhere like California where they were making some electric cars or something and set up. I'm sure there's hydroelectric dams somewhere in California and they would have had better climates. And they could have grew food. But then they set up the committee, and that's where Harold really shows his resentment towards Stu and Franny and that. But he starts acting really cool about it, even standing up at the meeting and saying all these people that's been put up for the committee, vote them all in. Just take them. And then you get Harold and Nadine working together. Because Nadine shows back up at this point. She's acting really whacked out. I mean, she's acting so damn whacked out that she looks like a feral cat. I don't know. It's just... You got Nadine that'll do things for Harold, except for that one thing. Can't do that one thing, but there's so much others that Nadine can do to Harold. Which makes you believe that Nadine must be a virgin. Not sure how, but she's a virgin.
Yeah, right.
No, it's just Harold can't get laid no matter what he does.
No, the fact that Flag wanted her to get away from Stu. And then he specifically told Nadine that she could tempt Harold with everything but one thing. The intercourse. Mm-hmm. That makes you lead to believe that somehow Nadine survived this long in life as a virgin. She couldn't have been the wild child in high school or anything. She must, I don't know. She must
could have been Miss
up.
Oral, maybe.
But it implied that she could give oral and everything to Harold. And,
Some anal, maybe.
yeah, maybe even the anal and some titty rubbings and stuff, but couldn't do that one thing. because she was going to save herself for Randall. And I thought Jamie Sheridan was a damn good choice for Randall Flagg, too. I mean,
What did you think of Randall Flagg in that Matthew McConaughey in that Dark Tower movie?
Flagg wasn't Flagg in Dark Tower.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the movie wasn't very good.
It's hard to judge with that movie because, yes, Flagg crosses over in many of the Stephen King novels. And he was a big part of the Dark Tower series, too, but it just wasn't Flagg.
It's too bad they screwed that up. That could have been good.
But then they decide they're going to send some spies. And they got to come up with 3 spies to send to Vegas to check on what Flagg's doing. They picked Judge Ferris because they think nobody would suspect an old judge. They send out Dana because she's a rather intelligent woman. And then they pick Tom.
They sent Pickles.
M-O-O-N. It spells pickles. No, we're going to be nice to Pickles today. M-O-O-N. That spells night breeze.
You could even say it spells Fluggerville. I wouldn't mind.
But they hypnotize Tom, which again, I'm not huge on this whole hypnotic suggestion stuff. But they hypnotized Tom to be able to, where he could watch, be able to retain the knowledge, and at a certain time when the MOON was full, come back to Boulder. Of course, Flagg couldn't read who the 3rd spy was. Flagg automatically knew it was Judge Ferris and Dana. He sent out a crew to pick up Judge Ferris, which went bad because they got into a shootout. Dana, they let wander around until he decided it's time to pull her in, try to BS her with saying, hey, we just want peace. Could never figure out who Tom was. Of course, Julie recognizes Tom. Our crazy nympho recognizes Tom and tries to warn him that it's Tom. Nobody wants to listen to her at the time. Until Tom's already out of town and heading back. And then you've got Stu, Larry, Glenn, and Ralph. They must go confront Flagg. Especially after Nick gets killed because Harold blows him up.
Harold was a dick.
So he liked disco. Harold liked his disco, man. Boogie fever, boom, 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 boom. Darren, we're talking about the original miniseries from the 90s.
The old miniseries.
We can't really talk about the new one because it's not out yet. We're still talking about the old miniseries. You know, they sit there and that Harold and Nadine take off, then first Flagg decides Harold must die. And off the side of the cliff mountain goes Harold. Thumpity thump. Thumpity thump. His life.
I was misled.
Hey,
Right
wow,
off the cliff.
my chat's finally slowly catching up in StreamYards.
Nice.
It's only 3 minutes behind now.
Actually, I'm only about a minute behind.
It's slowly catching up. Soon we'll be able to read your comments as they come live, folks. So you got Harold laying at the bottom of the cliff, all broken and battered. You got Nadine taking off on her little moped, which was the goofiest thing in the world looking at it.
It was pink.
She's riding around with her little scarf flying. Just other ridiculous there. You got the four heading out, though one will fall by the wayside on the way. Of course, in the book, well, no, it was the same. You got Thomas escaping. You got Stu, Larry, Glenn, and Ralph. They leave Boulder. Glenn's dog Kojak's with him. One of the last few dogs that remain, because the dogs could catch the flu too, and cats. And you got poor Stu falls down, breaks his leg in the dry riverbed. Kojak decides to stay behind to protect him while the other three continue. And they're caught by Flag's forces and taken in and locked up. And then we go back to Boulder, and Mother Abigail decides that she's been too prideful. She's got to go for a walk. Walk where? I don't know. Good night, Nicole. And we go through the stuff in Vegas where Flag's talking to Glenn, and he's making his arthritis worse. And then he makes Lloyd kill Glenn. Like, what the hell? Poor Glenn's just an old man. Can't hurt him. And Larry and Ralph are taken for a show trial. And we get back. Trash Can Man. Trash Can Man's face is all melting. Because he's got radiation sickness. Trash Can Man's brought the big one. The big fire. And of course, Flag goes nuts, and he's starting to shoot his little magic around, and it finally shuts Julie up. Melts her face up. She can't talk. She's flopping around the ground. And then all the power that's floating around there that Flag shot out, all of a sudden forms up into a giant hand.
That was cheesy.
That was
Yep,
really
that
the
was.
cheesiest part of the whole damn miniseries. You hear Mother Abigail's voice declare that God's promise has been kept. The power forms into the hand of God, reaches down, grabs the bomb. Flag turns into a crow and tries to fly away, and the bomb goes off. Spoilers, folks, if you haven't read the book, Flag did get away.
That was kind of hilarious. Take us, Jesus. Take us.
Of course, in the miniseries, you assume Flag is destroyed, but in the book, folks, Flag did get away.
Well, you figured he'd get away.
Flag always gets away. And then you go and Tom finally finds Stu. Takes him to a cabin to get his legs set for the winter. Where Stu comes down with the flu. Of course, poor Tom's freaking out thinking it's the super flu. It's Captain Trips. So then Nick comes to Tom in a ghostly manner.
In a speaking role.
In a speaking role. Now Nick can speak.
Yep.
And clearly, I may add. Now, if you were a deaf mute that never spoke before, how would you know how to sound the words? Clearly, number 2, right after the hand of God part, number 2 cheesy part, Nick speaking just clearly and perfectly for being a deaf mute all his life. You'd think it'd be more like, but no.
I can talk now in your dreams.
And shows Tom the exact medication to get. Though you can tell from the scene when Tom's just pushing pills in Stu's mouth left and right. Nick didn't explain to him that there was doses to take. Don't feed him the entire damn bottle at once. And then we come up to another minor point that I have a problem with. Because Tom's making him peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to feed him. How many weeks have gone by so far since everything's went to hell?
More than 2.
Yeah, it's been almost a month now or so. A little over a month. Where the hell did Tom find some bread that wasn't moldy?
Bread doesn't mold anymore.
Sure it does. I've seen bread that still molds.
Not the stuff around here. They make it out of, like, nuclear waste or something.
Must have been Wonder Bread.
I don't know. I just... Yeah, but this was back in the 90s, so bread back then would have still molded. Like normal.
M-O-O-N, that spells pickles.
M-O-O-N. That spells moldy bread. So Tom's feeding him peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and trying to force entire bottles of medication down his mouth.
What I didn't get is when he's outside crying. Tom, that is.
Well, at that point, he was starting to forget what people looked like. He couldn't remember what Nick looked like.
Right.
He wasn't getting visits from Nick in his dreams anymore. So that's what was making him sad. And plus, that was just dramatic build to make you think that Stu died.
Right.
They wanted to throw that in there thinking that after all this that Tom went through and everything else, Stu still died. But no. Stu comes hobbling out of the cabin.
And he looks over and says, Lieutenant Dan, you got brand new legs.
Thomas Potts says he don't cry. He's a big boy. So then they start on their journey back to Boulder, where Franny has given birth to her baby.
To a little girl.
To a little girl that was actually an old boyfriend of hers that died from the flu.
That baby looks a lot like Nephew Will Pray.
Maybe Nephew will Pray got hooked up with the time-traveling chick and went back just to make a cameo so he could be on TV, and they misgendered him.
That could be.
Bad people. But it snows really heavy by the time they leave the cabin and get back to Boulder. Lots of snow. Good thing they brought that big snow cap so they could drive around in. And they're met at a guard post, of course, by Teddy, who's played by Stephen King, and the other guy that was played by Bobby Brady from the Brady Bunch. On a side note, the same gentleman that played Bobby Brady was also one of the directors or something, background partial director or something. He was working as part of the crew, producing the miniseries too. But they're met back. They're told that Franz had the baby, but the baby is sick.
The baby's got the flu.
The baby has Captain Trips. So they go rushing back to the hospital, where Mother Abigail is there also and dies. And they get back. They see the baby. The baby's fine now because apparently half immunes at this point are still immune. They're only a little bit sick. And anybody that's conceives afterwards that are two immunes, they naturally assume will be completely immune to Captain Trips, and they will never see it again. Which is a big leap of assumptions. Because if that was the case, wouldn't people like maybe Harold's folks still been alive? Would Franny's dad maybe have survived? It was kind of a leap in assumptions that two immunes would have an immune baby right off the bat. It's not really how genetics works, folks. It does, but it doesn't. I don't know. When did DJ get hair plugs? Hair plugs? I didn't get hair plugs.
Hair plugs?
I haven't got no damn hair plugs, son of a bitch. My mullet's growing out, damn it. I dyed my hair, my mullet's growing out. I am now Randall Flagg. I'm rocking the 80s look.
It's all business up front, party in the rear.
Of course, at the end, you see a big disembodied head of Mother Abigail floating over the baby.
That was extra cheese.
That was the extra cheese part there at the end. You had to have a giant floating head of Mother Abigail. And then Lucy reveals that she's pregnant with Larry's child. So Larry's dead, so the child's going to grow up with no daddy. Or as Lucy was, it seems like she'd latch on to anybody anyway, so she'd probably find somebody before she even popped the kid. And that's the end of the miniseries. So, of course, in the book, it goes to a coast in Africa where Randall Flagg washes up on shore to start the whole business all over again. But yeah, that's the stand, folks.
The prologue on that show was like 45 minutes too long.
Yep. Now, of course, we have this new miniseries coming out. Isn't that going to be fun?
Stephen King's supposed to write a new ending for the new
Yep.
miniseries.
Yep.
Well, and the thing is it actually a miniseries, or are
Yes.
they going to take this a few seasons?
I
Yeah,
think
that's-
it's. Go ahead.
That's the weird thing, because you go look it up, and you look up the cast of characters on it. It's 10 episodes. And you have the main characters like Stu, Larry, Mother Abigail, Nadine, Tom Cullen. They're all listed like 10 episodes. Until you get to Randall Flagg. He's only listed for one episode.
Well, and weren't you saying Trash Can Man wasn't there?
Yeah, I could not find any reference at all
How the frick
in
can you
the
have that show without Trash Can Man?
in these 10 episodes that they got. I cannot find one listing for Trash Can Man. I even went back and found out Trash Can's real name and looked through, and it's not listed. So that kind of makes me think that they're going to maybe try to do this over multiple
Oh no.
seasons.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I'm
And-
looking
and-
at it the same way.
And this first 10 episodes is going to be nothing but maybe the first two-parter of the miniseries type.
The Stand Discovery.
Because they've got covers, they've got characters listed that never even showed up in the original miniseries and were barely mentioned in the book. Like Harold's mother. We never really seen Harold's mother. They even got Abigail's mother listed. So what? They're going to do flashbacks of Mother Abigail to her mother?
Yeah, because that's crazy. Because Mother Abigail was 106 years old.
108.
108. Oh my God.
Yep, she was 108. They got other characters named like Amy Lauder. So Harold's got a sister. The only thing that's weird is they also have characters like uncredited, named like Hurt Gladiator. Where the hell's Gladiators come in? I really don't know if this is going to be all in 10 episodes or if it's going to be split because or did they purposely cut out characters like Trash Can Man, which makes no damn sense because he's one of the pinnacle characters at the end when he brings the nuke back.
Yeah, he kind of like ends the entire series.
And then some of the people that they got listed for parts in this miniseries, I can't see. I'm sorry, but Amber Heard is Nadine Cross. Whoopi Goldberg,
Yeah.
Mother Abigail.
It is pretty good.
Greg Kinnear. Greg Kinnear is Glenn Bateman. Really? Alexander Skarsgård is Randall Flagg.
Well, I can see that.
So he's Pennywise, but now he's Randall Flagg. And actually, Pennywise and Randall Flagg are supposed to be some sort of relation to each other anyway because they're imps from hell and they've got some bloodline that's in common. But no, they don't have anything like a Trash Can Woman. I don't even see a female version of the name for Trash Can Man listed here. And of course, they got Giovanna Adepo now playing Larry Underwood. Owen Teague is Harold Lauder. I don't have much faith for this.
I will say, I'm not a fan of Whoopi Goldberg's politics or that, but as an actress, I mean, she's a good actress. I don't see her pulling off Mother Abigail just because she doesn't have the look. I mean, like 108 years old,
Well, no, I'll pull up a picture.
Like I said before, I think Oprah Winfrey would have been a much better choice.
They did do kind of a. This is what Mother Abigail is now going to look like in this redone version.
Bro.
Okay, I can see it somewhat,
There is Mother Abigail from the new one coming out.
Yeah. Okay. I can at least somewhat see an aged,
Where you had Ruby Dee as Mother Abigail.
Yeah. She just fit that role so beautifully, though.
Yeah, and it wasn't forced at all. I mean, that was just her.
But then you got James Marsden as Stu Redman. I can't see him doing it. I really can't. I don't know.
I don't know. I still have a little bit of hope that they might actually do something good, but it's being CBS All Access. I don't know. It's
See, I like how they did with Harold at the beginning. They put zits all over him. They made him look like a real nerd, creep. And then he goes to the bad boy evil look.
He kind of has a Zod look in that one, doesn't he?
Yep. Kneel before Zod. Then, of course, after Nadine hooks up with Flag, she's got that old crazy look. Of course, I would say that you'd get that crazy look if you just had sex with this.
yeah. She just looked into the pits of hell, and
Yeah, you know.
Well, and that scene is kind of a rape scene. It was just
Yeah. Well, there was multiple rape things in the extended book because you had Lloyd raping Trash Can Man in Vegas. M-O-O-N. That spells bomb. Here's our man of the hour.
Matt Frewer.
But I had to put up something funny. Stephen King's The Stand. Tom Collins says, "Law is yes. M-O-O-N. That spells Star Trek."
Tom Cullen is a Discovery Raider.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to review it when it comes out. I'm hoping it's not as bad as I fear.
Is there a date for it yet?
There's no date for it yet. It's everything that you look up for it just keeps saying sometime in the fourth quarter of 2020.
Yeah, they said they wrapped production on it, I think, in March, so it's finished. They finished it before all the problems.
They wrapped production 3 days before all the lockdowns started.
Right.
And it's insane they don't release some of these things. Because people are sitting at home going, we want to watch some TV, God damn it.
And this is CBS All Access. I mean...
Well, they have Star Trek now for the next 24 weeks or 23 weeks or whatever, so maybe after that's done.
Yeah, but that's taking it into 2021.
Right. Well, maybe they'll start it at the end of Discovery.
And it's like CBS was putting out Star Trek and Twilight Zone and all that at the same time. They could put this out.
True. Do you think people's appetite for a series about a virus will kind of hurt the viewing numbers for this? Besides it being on CBS All Access,
you would think it would hurt maybe the numbers, but I don't think that would be the case. I think it would expand the numbers because they want to see exactly what a worst case scenario would look. And I would think with CBS, with Stephen King involved in this and everything else, and I'm sure there's been rewrites to kind of Trump bash. Let's just say it.
Yeah,
Trump bash.
yeah.
You know it's going to be put in there.
Yeah.
You would think they would release this before the damn election, trying to make people fear more. Like
Actually,
if you don't
one-
get him out,
Yeah, that's a
this-
very good point.
One thing that might be holding things up a little bit, though, is the bad publicity with that one actress.
Amber Heard.
Now, yeah,
True.
oh, rambling.
Yeah. They may be trying to postpone it, hoping some of that'll die down.
Yeah, that's right. Didn't think about that.
Oh, you mean shitting the bed?
Yeah.
Yeah, the abuse allegations and
Because they're well beyond. They can't do nothing about her being in this. They can't. They can't recast it and go back and film everything because that would cost way too much money. That was one of the bigger characters in sections of it. They can't do anything about her in this. They're going to have to release it as it is. But when are they going to release it, and how are they going to use it? Are they going to use it before the election to try to fearmonger people and say this could happen if you leave him in? Or are they going to wait until after and further down the line, hoping that the pandemic lessens so people don't get all freaked out? It's just hard to say.
I think the showrunner for this is the guy that did that that X-Men movie that's been rescheduled dozens of times. What the New Mutants, right? I think he's the showrunner. That guy's cursed.
I just really don't know how they're going to do this.
Timing's a problem for this, that's for sure.
You got trying to look up full cast and crew. Series director Josh Boone. Of course, you got Owen King and Stephen King involved, and they're credited with writing credits for all episodes.
Well, that's right. They race swapped Larry, I see.
Yeah. There was not too many characters they changed, except for like Larry, his mother. They had to make it. But then you start wondering which characters are actually going to be
trans and all the rest.
Well, I'm not too worried about the trans or anything like that, but they got other characters that are listed that were never really listed in the first place. So who are these people like Cobb and that? What are they going to do with that?
Maybe the only saving grace is at least Stephen King's involved with it. I don't think he's going to want to see it turned into complete trash.
No, because Stephen King, if you go read, he's really far left.
Yeah, no, I realize that.
And he's been getting worse and worse about it as the years have gone. I think he's going to try to get him to push it. I think they did do one other switch. The character, the doctor that originally picks up Stu in that.
Yeah.
He's nowhere listed, but they do have a Dr. Sylvia Wynn. So I think they kind of dropped him and put in a female character for the doctor part, which ain't a big deal.
Yeah, it's no biggie.
Yeah.
No biggie.
Yeah,
I think
that's
well. I think that's all the big changes they've made character-wise. But I just really it's CBS. Come on, folks. It's CBS. CBS All Access. So what good things have they put out?
Yes, they should have a trash can girl.
Because come on, Discovery sucks.
Yes, I would agree
Picard
with
mostly
that.
sucked.
Yes,
I didn't like Lower Decks.
I haven't watched it yet.
We did it last night here, live review as it dropped. We even opened up a second StreamYard and was letting some people watch it in there as we discussed it on mine. I thought it was just trash humor.
And have you looked at the reviews out there, Deej? We are in the minority.
I know it.
I can't believe, and I can't believe me watching something like that, and I really didn't like it.
I put it at the same humor level as SpongeBob, and I hate SpongeBob.
Well,
Family Guy Trek.
Yes.
No, it's not even Family Guy Trek. It's worse than Family Guy.
Emma when there is the pickles.
I could
Yeah,
watch
hello.
Family Guy. I could watch Family Guy way more than I could watch this Lower Decks because it was just stupid humor to it. And they couldn't even get things right. Come on, Romulan whiskey. It's freaking Romulan ale, people. And then
Yeah, I
half
don't
of
think
it,
that was. I don't think that was Romulan language that was on the bottle either. I think it was just doodle.
Oh, I have to kick myself out because I changed the subject.
Oh,
Yeah, you did.
what is the subject here? Let's talk.
The Stand.
The Stand.
But technically, no, I kind of did change the subject, but I didn't because I'm just pointing out the fact that this remake series of The Stand is being put out by CBS All Access. And everything that CBS All Access has been putting out right now that I've watched is complete crap. The Twilight Zone is crap. All the Star Trek that I've seen is crap. I do not have any faith in CBS All Access being able to do any kind of justice to The Stand.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I really don't.
I will give it a shot. I will watch it. I will review it. I will be open-minded about it. I just have a really bad feeling that it's not going to work.
I'm just going to have to reserve it and say I'm not going to watch it with you guys because last night, that was a fucking travesty. That show really tanked.
And we tried to do it good was that everybody that just wanted to watch the show and not hear commentary went over to Pickles StreamYards. So they could mute my stream and not listen to the commentary as we went. So all they heard was all they would hear was the show itself.
I doubt that. I don't think that. I think they listen to both.
But then there was some that popped up in that one and tried to talk over there that shouldn't have been talking in that StreamYards. They should have been in mine to do the commentary.
Oh. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Because
yeah.
we did have people like Captain Foley was in here with us watching it.
And I'm not judging people who like that show. It's just, it wasn't for me.
Yeah, that's it.
Poor Captain Foley was so desperate to find out what the show was. He came to me last night, to my stream, to find out. And he got to watch it. Because he wouldn't have got to watch it until this afternoon sometime. And then we had people like Markrell and we had Yosef. That they can't even get it unless they sail.
14 was on earlier going, oh, I want to see it. I want to see it.
Yeah, see, we're gonna have to let 14 know that he can come here next week if he wakes up early enough in the morning to watch it, because they released it an hour and a half before it was even supposed to be dropped.
Well, I guess they have to try something to get the kids interested in Star Trek, because the way things are going, the kids could care less about it, you know?
But it's like, I just don't, I can't
No.
see the stand working.
Oh, I
That's
hear
the
you. I
only
mean,
thing. That's the
they're
only
just
point.
desperate.
Yeah, it's the only point that I could see correct. They're
You know.
trying to get the people who don't know anything about Trek
Right.
to get into Trek and then end up watching real Trek. That's the only positive thing I can talk about Lower Decks.
Let's go back. I broke my own rule. This is nothing
Yeah.
but stand here.
And I gotta take off, everybody. So have a great night.
I can
Bye,
end the
night.
stream. I can end the stream and then restart a stream, and then we
Start a
can
new
go
one.
into the whole rant of this other stuff.
I'm cool.
That'd be fine.
Yeah, restart it, bud.
Chris,
I mean, I blew up my stream, man. So
Christy, we've been sitting here talking about a review. Hey, let me get this out. Christy, we were sitting here talking about the old originals, Stephen King, The Stand miniseries. That's what we were kind of going over on this one. I am about to end the stream now and restart a new stream because I broke my own rule. With this show each Thursday, we're supposed to stick with one topic. And we kind of want to go into another topic at this point that this one led to.
good call.
I
With
would
all,
say
with all
yes.
due respect, you went 112 minutes, so like you're already like miles and above beyond soup.
Yeah, you
Well, it was a 4-part miniseries, so
you
takes
freaking
time.
killed it, Deej. You fucking killed
no,
it.
no, this ain't the longest one because when we did Stargate a couple of weeks ago, we went 3.5
we didn't even
hours on
finish
that
it.
one.
Yeah, we
3.5
didn't even
hours,
finish it.
You know,
and we didn't go
Yeah.
off topic.
I
We
don't
didn't go
know.
off
If,
topic.
I don't know if that stream is over yet. We gotta.
Yeah.
We might have to go back and rehash some of that.
Yeah, we may
Yeah.
have to do a part 2 to this, but I'm going to end this stream, folks. We're going to call this one quit. We're going to stay with this. This was the stand and everything else. And I will be back up and running within a minute and a half with a new stream. And this will be talking about anything and everything, folks.
Make sure you
Yes.
slam one of the like buttons.
And especially, I have to bring up the point that Richie Poole missed the best epic thing earlier today. I'm going to have to bring that up at the beginning of the stream.
Yes,
So,
hit,
we're
hit
going
the like
out of this
buttons.
one.
Anybody who hasn't hit a like button, hit that son of a bitch.
Hit
Yep.
it. We're out
One
of
or-
here.
one or the other.
I will be restarting in about a minute.
I
We're
even
outta here
like
on this
I